Hi, my name's Isaac. It's lightly sleeting outside, I'm personally freezing, and this is a Mazda CX-30. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. Rain, sleet, or snow, I'm like the mailman of car reviewers. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Lancaster Mazda for allowing me to borrow this car to review. For all your Mazda needs in the Lancaster area, I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. Starting out up front on this CX-30, it maintains Mazda's corporate design language when it comes to front-end styling, but cleverly implements it into this small crossover body style. You'll have LED headlights right here, though your turn signals are not implemented into this housing. They're actually very cleverly located down here, right above the black plastic that separates the lower portion of this car from the upper portion. That wraps all the way around the body and does make the CX-30 and the CX-50 stand out from some of the other Mazda vehicles in the lineup. Moving underneath the hood, this CX-30 is powered by Mazda's Sky Active 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, and that makes both 186 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Moving to the profile of the CX-30, starting here with the wheels and tires, you'll have two 55R tires wrapped around these really nice 18-inch wheels. And then, as I mentioned before, you'll have this black plastic cladding that continues along the lower portion of the body. And then up here, you'll have a mirror, which kind of replicates that two-tone design with the black at the bottom, red at the top, that you get on the rest of the body. And then you'll have a turn signal indicator incorporated into there, and blind spot monitoring. And then you'll have keyless entry right here. And as we continue along to the back, you'll get your gas cap. And again, this continues the kind of corporate Mazda styling, though I do really like its small design. You'll have your CX-30 badge all-wheel drive right there, and then the Sky Active G badge for your engine with the dealership specifications. Now, if we come down here, you'll see you have your backup camera right there. You'll also have a button to open up the lift gate right here. And then you can see a pretty ample amount of room back here, definitely enough storage for most people. And then you'll get a full-size spare tire underneath there. Very nice. You'll have LED lights, and it does have a spot kind of for one of those pull-down covers so people can't see into this storage area. Now up here you do also have a button to close the lift gate. And I think this is a good time to talk about the key. So this is the key for the CX-30. Pretty cool key, because it puts everything here on the side. The only other brand that I think does that is Kia, and I really like the design. You'll have lock, unlock, and this is your panic. It's the little exclamation mark. That's really funny, because I was like, what does that do? You hold it and it is your panic button. But then you also have the ability to lift the tailgate from this key fob, which is really nice. And thankfully, it also gives you the ability to drop the tailgate from here, or lift gate, I should say. Tailgate would be for trucks, and mostly I review trucks. All right, let's take a look at the interior. Moving to the interior of the CX-30, it is incredibly premium in here. On this particular trim, you'll get a two-tone black and brown color. Very nice on the door handle here. You'll have a kind of rubbery material that you could rest your arm on down here, and a much more comfy leatherette material on the door handle for you to rest right there. Then you'll have your window controls, your mirror controls, lock and unlock, some safety features, and the off-road mode that this comes with. So you can take this off-road if you'd like, though the ground clearance isn't incredible on this. It does at least have that nice body cladding, the black plastic around the bottom, to kind of cover from rock scratches and stuff so you don't mess the paint up. I don't know how many people are necessarily taking this off-road, but this is the sporty CX-30, and you have the CX-50 in front of me is the bigger, sportier SUV. And here's another CX-50, which is the bigger, sportier off-road SUV. Can we get another one? Okay, no, it's just that one. All right, anyway, then moving to the steering wheel here, it is very finely wrapped in leather, and you have a lot of controls on here for your safety systems, your radar guided cruise control, volume, channel changing, and your Bluetooth right there. and it's all got this kind of really nice silver finish on here. This whole interior just feels, like I said, very premium, very upscale, even for being such a small car. If we move to the gauge cluster, you do actually have a gauge cluster screen here, and you can change minorly some things. You can get a digital speedometer, a traditional looking speedometer that kind of matches the traditional gauges you'll have here, and then you can check other driving information in here. So there's a couple of different things you can do in here, not a ton, and it does leave a little bit to be desired compared to some other center gauge cluster screens, though it is nice to have that slight customization and differentiation in there. Down here you'll have your climate controls, heated seats on this particular trim, and you get a push button start. You'll have some storage down here, and then you do have 2 cup holders right here and your shifter. Down here you do have a sport mode, so you can shift it into sport. You could do sport and off-road, and you can have what I imagine would be an absolutely wild, sporty off-road experience in this thing. So let's turn that off. You'll have your electronic parking brake right here, and then here is something very interesting. The infotainment system we have here is not a touch screen. So what you do is you actually control it from this circle right here. You can spin and you can click into different things. Oh my word, I love the song Down Under by Men at Work, but I can't play it because of copyright. Frick. Let's play it for like 1 second. Thunder, you better run. All right, that's enough of that. All right, because we don't want to get flagged by YouTube's copyright system. But trust, that's a boppin' song. Anyway, you'll have different buttons on here that can control different things with the infotainment system. So you can hit home, you can specifically go to music, you can specifically go to navigation, you can specifically go back to whatever you were on last, and then you do have your volume control here next to, there's a little bit more of that down under for you, and next to the steering wheel controls, you can also use that if you'd like, and it is kind of comfortably within arm's reach to just reach down here. Now Mazda's idea is that you can have one hand on the steering wheel, and then you would have one hand on this, so you're not kind of leaning forward to try to touch the touchscreen, with the idea that you would have your eyes more securely glued to the road. And then you'll have your armrest right here with a kind of neat little design cue here. So you can slide it back if you want to open it up and access the USBs and the 12 volt in here. And get a little divider that you can also clip down to separate some of the storage area parts. And then you have to close it like that and then push it forward. Unfortunately, you can't open it from here. You have to slide it back then to open it, which is a little bit annoying, but it is a cool design, and this is very, very comfortable to rest your arm on. And then I've always been fascinated by Mazda's climate control design. So you have 2 climate vent design, I should preface. You'll have 2 climate vents right here, and then over here you have 2 more, and then kind of this fake pass-through vent in the middle. This is just plastic, there's nothing actually here. Just to kind of, I guess, differentiate the design for the passenger. It is very unique, and I think it's just this interesting styling cue that they do. Up here you will have a sunroof, that's always nice to see, and then you have very, very comfortable black leather seats. The bolstering is very nice. They are power front, back, up, down, and power lumbar as well. So there is a lot of different options there on the seats and the controls. So that is also a very nice option. Let's take a look at the back. All right, moving to the back seats here, you will have the brown trim right here, and then your window controls. And this is where I would probably sit comfortably. I have maybe 1 or 2 inches of leg room, and then I have a tiny bit, again, 1 or 2 inches of headroom. I'm 5'9", so this is pretty tight back here, a little claustrophobic, not gonna lie. And then you will have 2 climate vents back here for air conditioning, so that is at least nice to have that. And then you also do get a fold down center armrest with cup holders. So there is definitely some luxury features back here, but let me just put it like this. I probably wouldn't want to be back here on a long road trip if I was taller. I would step up to a CX-30 if that's what you're looking for. All right, driving the CX-30. I'm gonna get it out onto the road here. It started snowing, so we've had, and it's raining as well, so I guess I really did cover the trifecta in this video, rain, sleet, and snow, no matter what, I will review a car. So that's what we're doing here, and boy, this was a doozy one to film. Not a crazy car, very normal car for the most part, but just, you know, all these extenuating circumstances. All right, getting this thing out onto the road, acceleration-wise, it really does pick up quick. And one thing I didn't mention, I'm gonna show with a little clip I filmed a little earlier before the sun went down. This does have a heads-up display for the speedometer, which is really cool. That's a really neat feature, very useful, so you don't have to look down and take your eyes off the road. Mazda is clearly very focused with you keeping your eyes on the road when you're driving a vehicle like this. This is fun. This is my first review at nighttime because I live in Pennsylvania, and in the winter, it's dark out at 5, which is crazy. It's very comfortable. The seats are very plush. Obviously, the heated seats are very nice. It's cool to have that ability. And it's this very comfortable crossover. I like the position of everything. I think it's laid out very nicely. I do wish that this was a touchscreen. That's a little disappointing to me, but not the end of the world. And you know, I think the handling on this is very nice. It's a good size too. CX-30, which I recently reviewed, is also a good sized vehicle. And I think it handles really cool as well. And I think it just depends on how much space you need. How many people do you plan on transporting? If you're gonna really have a lot of people all the time, I think I'd step up to a CX-50. But if it's maybe 1 or 2 people in the car, you're driving around the city, I mean, this is a fantastic little commuter car. That is going to conclude my review of this CX-30. I really hope you guys enjoyed. But before I go, I'd like to say that I am a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would really appreciate if you could leave those in the comment section. I love being able to pray for you guys. And I'd like to close with a Bible verse. Today's is actually 2 verses. It's Mark 9:23 and 24. And I gotta give you guys some context to the situation before I read it. So Jesus is out with his disciples, there's people around, and a father brings to Jesus his son who is possessed with a demon. And the father goes, look, if you can help us in any way, that would be great. I'd really appreciate if you can help my son. And we pick up in verse 23, and Jesus said to him, if you can, all things are possible for one who believes. Immediately, the father of the child cried out and said, I believe, help my unbelief. That's a verse that I go to quite often. I say verse 24 quite often because there's many times in my life that I do believe that God can do something, but it is really tough to believe it. And so I like to say, I believe, help my unbelief. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. See you next time.